Okay, Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Welcome to our second day of Receiving New Retreat, the path to lasting inner peace. We are going to continue to build on the first two sessions of yesterday and to reflect more on path to inner peace through meaning, through looking more into what keeps us from peace and how we can get to peace through the Quran. I have a PowerPoint that I would like to share. Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. So the outline of this morning's session is I will present for a little bit and then we'll have a text, actually two pieces of texts. The first piece we will discuss in one breakout group, and then we'll come back and share and discuss. And I will present a little bit more, and then we will go back and have another text discussion, again, a short text, and then we'll have some pausing exercise and reflection and conclusion, and we'll end with some practical suggestions for the rest of our day and the retreat, inshallah. Now, in order to talk about peace and finding that place of lasting peace, we need to talk about what bothers us, what disturbs our peace. One reason is we get overwhelmed with problems we have in life, whether it's in relationships, whether it's difficulties of life, health, finances, displacements, loneliness. We have all of us have some sort of issues that become overwhelming, and in those points it's hard to have any sense of peace. And sometimes that's one thing, and sometimes things seem okay. There isn't a particular problem that is big enough, but life feels empty and insignificant. Things are fine, but what is the purpose of all this? It feels empty. And then another thing that really bothers us, and is perhaps at the bottom of everything else that bothers us, is the fact that the life is painfully short. And there are moments in life where this becomes explicit, that we see how passing and short life is and bothers us directly or indirectly. Underneath all the other worries, this is something that disturbs peace. As Dr. Yamina said in yesterday's session, transience is one thing that really bothers human heart, and that's why in any path to lasting peace, we have to find a solution to this existential issue, this problem. Now, in this presentation, in this morning's session, we will continue to emphasize the core themes of this retreat. One of the things we want to discover more is how the Quran speaks to our core. Oftentimes we treat the Quran as if it's giving us some instructions to plug into our lives. But more and more, we want to see the Quran as actually speaking to our inner core, giving us meaning, giving us understanding of ourselves and the world we live in, and really touching us in our most deepest, most important aspects. So we want to, inshallah, emphasize this point into this morning's sessions as well. And also, another connection that hopefully is new in the sense of being new through this retreat, or being new through those of you who have been coming to receiving your sessions in general, this is a new emphasis in the sense that it isn't as emphasized as it should be in many places. And that's the connection between inner world and the outer world. We are oftentimes living in a way as if the world out there is disconnected from the world inside us. And so even when we read the Quran, there's a tendency to separate, okay, now the Quran is talking about the nature, and now the Quran is talking about human heart. And yet if we look closer, the Quran is actually connecting the two, and we want to pay attention to that a bit more this retreat. And then inshallah, we'll have further opportunity to tune into our soul in this session and throughout this retreat. Now, the guide that we will be having in this journey is a text by Imam Said Nursi. It is a text on this particular phrase in the Quran, Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil. Roughly translated, it says, God is enough for us, Hasbunallah, and how excellent a guardian is he, or more maybe literally, how excellent disposer of affairs is he. Now, why are we going on to this journey of exploring peace in the Quran through Said Nursi? Some of you may be already familiar with Said Nursi, but I want to also offer a few words about him and why are we going into this journey with him. Nursi is very important for a number of reasons. Number one, he was someone who was not only deeply educated in traditional Islamic disciplines. He was a scholar of Islamic theology and Quran and method of interpretation and so on, but also someone who, living at the cusp of a lot of change, he saw the need for relating to the Quran in a personal and certain manner. The certainty in the Quranic teaching was extremely important for Imam Nursi. He realized that faith cannot be something that is passed on from generation to generation merely on the basis of authority. I believe God is with me because my mom told me so. I believe God is one because my teacher said so. These are not really ways to ground or root genuine faith. And so Imam Nursi was very committed to show how the Quran makes sense both for our hearts and for our minds. And he lived at the end of 19th century. He was born toward the end of 19th century, and he lived 80 years. He died in 1960. So he saw a lot of changes during this time. He has witnessed the ending of Ottoman Empire and failure of a lot of traditional structures, both in education, scholarship, but also in general the social decay and also the political decay. He has seen World War I, and he has seen a lot of the ruptures that happened after World War I, and then he also has seen World War II. And he what I find in him extremely helpful is that he is talking from deep experience, that he turns to the Quran to make sense of his life and what he's going through, and he finds in the Quran the cure, and then shares it. So it's not technical knowledge, it's not just dry information, it's really deeply lived experience of the Quran, and in a way that really is not shying away from questions, is not shying away from doubts, rather welcoming them, and showing how the Quran is able to actually respond to these questions and cure us and heal us and guide us and enlighten us. So um, I'm really excited to go through this particular text. He has written a lot, and as you know, we've been going through some of his texts with Dr. Yamina this fall. This particular text that I have studied for this session is from a book called Rays, one of his volumes called The Rays, and it's fourth ray, and it's dedicated to Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil. And here in this is a longer treated, relatively long. If you feel, yeah, there's 6-7 different stations in this treatise, and in each station he starts with a problem, a personal problem. He doesn't give too many details of his problems, but we do know that, especially in the second part of his life, he has gone through a lot of persecution and suffering, and he has always had a very modest life. So he never had a big house or, you know, a lot of food. He had very modest life in general. But in the second part of his career as a scholar, he has been subjected to a lot of persecution. So this means literally being in prison, being solitary confinement, tortured, poisoned, attempt on killing him through poison, decades in house arrest and exile, and his books being confiscated from him from time to time, his disciples being imprisoned, and some of them really badly tortured, and his texts were banned, and so on. So it has been an intense time for him, and to me it makes what we're about to read a bit of that. It makes his writing even more compelling, but because this isn't a person who's sitting in his beautiful mansion and reflecting on the beautiful stuff that he sees all around. He is a person who lived in extremely difficult circumstances, and yet he was able to find peace and come back to peace over and over again through the Quran. As it was mentioned yesterday in the introduction session, the path to lasting peace is really the path to finding a lasting place to return. It isn't about being in a state where you're never disturbed about anything, you're never worried about anything. Rather, it's about finding a home, a space to come back to when we're disturbed, when we are shaken. It is the possibility of coming back and finding this unending source of solace in that new circumstance that we find ourselves in. So with this introduction, I would like to invite you to the first part of the text study in breakout groups. The text I have placed it on the retreat manual. It is also, I'm going to also send the link here. The link was also sent to your email just before the session. So let me pull the link here. I'm sorry, I'm logged out of my emails. I'm just going to quickly try to get it. In the meantime, if you'd like to check your email to find the link in your email, you're welcome to do so. I guess it's not going to sign me here.
Sir, I can share the link in the chat if you want.
Thank you. Thank you. That will be helpful. So in the meantime, in the text, there are two sections. So with we will only do the first session in the first breakout group. So the one that starts with Roman numeral 1. And actually, I can share it here as well.
No, I can't share because I'm not co-host. So yeah.
Oh, okay. I think I can make you co-host.
I think Sister Beza, she shared it. So
Oh,
We see it, Isra.
okay.
We see it on the screen.
yeah.
Now, so before we go into the breakout groups, so when you go into the groups and you'll be around like 4 people per group, you will need some time to read the text. It's not very long. It's just a page, even though because it's big, maybe it looks more than a page. Let's say page and a half. And it's an excerpt with skipped portions in it. I would like you to read the text and then maybe spend a couple minutes to read it silently if you like, and then talk to your neighbors in your group of what is most interesting and what is most striking for you in this approach to the Quranic passage, and anything you find important in your journey for peace. We will do that for another 5 minutes, and then we'll come back. So the total, I'm guessing, a breakout session will be around 10 minutes or so. Okay. Hatija Beza, do you think you can do the breakout groups, or if you make me the host, I can make it too? If it should be easy, but
I can do it, inshallah.
okay. So around 4 people per group.
Sure. One moment.
So in the meantime, it will be helpful if you find your text and the link that Hatija shared, because once you go to the group, you won't see the screen. And again, it has been emailed to you as well.
And everyone should have gotten some sort of notification on their device inviting them to the room. So inshallah, they can enter their corresponding room.
Okay, so inshallah, enjoy your 10 minutes. Hatija, if you like, you can make me host and go ahead to a group as well. And I'll make you host again when you come back.
Okay, done. There was, if you can push me to one room where there was only one sister, I was about to join that one, but nobody else joined that room. So if you can.
Five. Okay, great. Yeah, then I assign you to room 5. Those of you who just arrived, we are in the breakout rooms, so you should see an invite for your breakout. and we are discussing the text that was shared in your email this morning. Okay, so assalamu alaikum everyone. Welcome back from your group study of the text. If you could take 30 seconds to collect the fruits of your discussion, what stays with you, what are you taking from your group work of this text? I'll give you 20 seconds for that.
Are we supposed to ask for somebody from the group to be the lead to tell you what happened in the discussion?
No, just hold on to what you have discussed with your group in your own way.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. So, inshallah, you had a good discussion. What we will do now is that I will go over the text, and if any of you would like to share anything in addition to what I will talk about, or if you have any questions, at that point I will ask you to join the conversation. Because we're quite a large group, it is hard to have all the groups share. We had at least 10 groups. So what we will do is we will go through the text together and take heart notes, mental notes as we go through. And if there's anything else you want to add after this presentation, or any questions you want to ask, we'll take that pose shortly, inshallah. Okay, so in this text, this is the second part of the larger treatise. And in the first part, he had just talked about his anguish and then how he got relief. And then in the second part, he's coming back with a question here. So he is someone who is in exile, who has been having difficult health problems, and then all kinds of people, including government, plotting against him. So he had all that sense of being squeezed and really troubled. And in that situation with Iman, he had relief, as he discussed earlier. We haven't read that part, but I'm filling you in. He got relief through recognizing that he is a candidate for eternal happiness and unending happiness in an eternal world and enduring abode. And then his sorrow and complaint transformed into relief and joy. I find this extremely helpful and striking, because he doesn't get out of the prison per se. He doesn't become healthy. You know, his sickness doesn't go away, or the pressures of the government, pressures of the people who don't like his service to religion, that those pressures do not dissipate. The difficulties in some way are the same, but they are felt differently, because he has a different perspective now. He has a perspective that says, I'm not made up by these circumstances. I am in these circumstances. I'm in these difficulties, but I have a horizon opened up before me. This is in the context of a world, a meaningful life, having a special attention by my Creator, and having eternal life and unending happiness as a context in which I am moving. What is interesting here is that he still has a question. A question comes to him that says, well, such a life purpose, such a major result of your goal of your ruh, your soul, and result of your fitra, that's great, but it's only possible if there is actually indeed an endless power that has control over every single detail, every action and situation of all the creatures. Nothing escapes his power. Because if something escapes his power, then I can say, well, it's good, he's making the sun rise, but I don't think he has authority over what I'm going through, or he really has authority over my happiness or this particular circumstance. So significance in the midst of this world, it has to be that there must be a creator who has power over everything, and in addition cares about this little being, because who are we? Who am I? I'm a speck on this planet, and considering the universe, I'm nothing. Considering the history, thousands of years, millions of people have come and gone. Who am I? I'm just a speck. So even as he's seeing the truth of eternal happiness here and now, even though he's excited about the perspective of Iman, he has this question. This is possible only if the Creator is really in control of every single detail, including me, and cares about me. Who am I? I'm so insignificant. But you're saying this Creator, out of the billions of people on earth, says, well, this person is also significant, and this person is also my friend and Idrisi. And so he says, well, I needed assurance on this. I needed to know this deeply. He uses the word tatma'in, so that my heart will be at rest with this. And then he comes back to the verse again, Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil. That's the center of this treatise. He's coming back to the verse with this question. What is so interesting here is that I used to read Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil. God is sufficient. He's the best guardian, best disposer of my affairs, all affairs. I used to see it in a superficial way. I have a problem and God will help me through this problem. Hasbunallah, God is going to help me. He's going to give me a hand. He's going to give me support. But what's happening here is a deeper and much grounded way of looking at the ayah, because it isn't that I have my worldview, that's my own view of what is happening, and then God is going to give me a hand. No, it is through God, the whole situation will be seen in a different light. The problem itself will change. And this is, as was emphasized in yesterday's sessions, the first day of the retreat, we want to not just focus on the problem, but also focus on a perspective then that can shed light on the problem, so that the problem transforms. And so God helping here, Nursi is reading it as God helping here means with God, with belief in God, the world is different. I see the world differently. It is genuinely different. Okay. And how is that? He focuses on the we, and God is enough for us. God is suffices to us. Hasbunna, that na, the pronoun we. He says the verse invited me to zoom into the we. What is that we? God is sufficient for us. Who's that us? And then that connects him to what I would consider the outer world. He's pressured and worried about his own significance, his own happiness and troubles. And yet, with the verse he's opening and he's starting to look at the birds and the flies and the animals, plants, trees, bushes, all these different kinds. And all of them are also saying, God is enough for us. What does that mean? How come they are expressing this meaning? He brings, like the Quran, there are a number of motifs in the universe that the Quran keeps bringing into our attention, whether it's the rain, whether it's the garden, whether it's the baby in the womb, whether it's our changing bodies, sun and the moon. The Quran keeps bringing these major signs to our attention. Imam Nursi says, that the Quran gives examples that are accessible to everyone. You don't have to be a biologist. You don't have to be a chemist. You don't have to be a gardener or farmer, or you don't have to be specialist in a particular trade to be able to read or see these ayahs. I could be illiterate, or I could be I could have PhDs in plant sciences. I can see these structures, but it isn't enough to just see them. It is important to see them as science, as ayat. How do we see them as science, as ayat? And as Dr. Yamina always emphasizes in Receiving Noor, it is to pay attention to what goes in, what comes out. We see immense diversity, immense different types of birds, different types of flies, insects, animals in water, in air, in the land, you name it. Thousands of different animals, actually millions. And they are all from similar substances, what they call as organic substances, similar carbon kind of elements, similar seeds and eggs in terms of basically simple substances. And then all this diversity and life is being brought out. And it is not brought out once, it's brought out all the time. And especially we see these major shifts during the spring season. And so Nursi clarifies, Imam Nursi really clarifies how things are in ayah. So their needs are being taken care of. They come out of eggs and fluids that are basically similar, but they're so diverse. And they come into being quickly, swiftly, in abundance, without being mixed up with each other, without error or confusion, and with utmost embellishment, balance, order, and distinction. So, and then they're within each other, they are interconnected, they are similar, and then there's all this diversity. So that, in the grass, the egg, I don't know if it's an egg, I don't know how they come about, but the egg, I guess, of a grasshopper, and an ant, and a bird, they all are mixed up, and they all come out to be what they're meant to be. And from they have similarities that show the same creator. They also have incredible distinction and embellishment and balance and order that shows immense power. Now, at this point, I want to take a pause and show you two very short clips that offer one out of billions of examples of distinction and balance and interconnectedness in the world. Let's see if I can show it to you in a way that I don't know how the sound quality will be because I'm in Istanbul. So we'll try. If it works, it works. If not, I'll just summarize. I want to show you a couple minutes from this talk. Here, the person is talking about cells in the ear. These are cells in the ear. They are called hair cells, but they're not hair cells. Actually, they look like hair at the top. So, but these are cells in your ears. I invite you, having read the text, I will invite you to try to look at what he's saying in light of what you have read, in light of what we have discussed. He is not reading it as a sign, unfortunately, but he's giving us some material that we can, inshallah, read as a sign to confirm the interconnectedness and intense attention to detail and oneness, inshallah. Bismillah.
Can you hear me okay? Okay. Well, if you can, it's really amazing.
Can you hear this okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Is there anyone who would like to share anything that you noticed here as a sign?
Subhanallah, what I was struck by is not just like the functionality and the like the minutest details of the functionality, but within this functional structure, there's beauty. Like each of the patterns that he showed for all the different animals, I've only looked at human ears, I've not looked at animals and like bats, but they're equally beautiful, equally detailed. Like it's not like, you know, that the human has a more detail, like all are detailed, all are the most perfect for what they need to hear, like, you know, for their specific signal, and all with beauty. Subhanallah, the signature doesn't change. Subhanallah. Thank you for sharing. That was beautiful.
Thank you, Alia. Thank you for sharing.
Isra, I wanted to share. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Actually, just seeing this video, it made us realize like this universe was created for us just to hear, because if there was no air, it was vacuum. This whole function of even the sensitivity the ear has doesn't, it won't work if there is no air or if there's vacuum outside us. So like the air, the noise cannot travel in vacuum basically. If you, so like it ties the whole universe, like Allah made this universe for us and gave us the capabilities and made it the universe subservient to make us hear. Yeah, that was mind-blowing.
Mhm. Mhm. That's great. Thank you for sharing that, Ziba. Because when we look from the perspective of hearing, it looks like everything is made for hearing. If we were looking for taste, then we would say everything is made for taste. If we looked at for water or air, it would seem that way because ultimately everything's interconnected. The speaker started by saying that you hear me through the vibration and a billionth of a change in the vibration in the room. That's how you hear me, he was saying. So that connection that we make, it's not just what is inside your ear, which is detailed so much to the, not the cell itself, the ear cell is so detailed, and it also has this tiny ligament bond that connects to the other one so they can move in a particular way to perceive sound to the detail, and it's interconnected. Whatever is making this ear cell work also knows and has control over the air and everything else. So this interconnectedness and this detail, these are all signs that, and answers his question, really, is there someone who has control over everything? Because even the most people would say, well, there's someone who's making some things happen, you know, of course. But to say that the Quran is not settled with that, the Quran, that would still be a shirk. The Quran wants us to see that there's only one source of power. La ilaha illa hu. And how is that possible? How can we see that, witness that, confirm that? By noticing the abundance and the interconnectedness of things and the other things that he was mentioning here. I'm going to show you one more short 2-minute excerpt, and this time they are speaking about these tiny creatures in the oceans and the waters, and how actually they are essential for air.
You see there that are, let's say, behind everything, there are algae. They one. So the dots that you see there that are, let's say, behind everything, they are algae. They are the creatures that provide the majority of oxygen in the air. They convert solar light and carbon dioxide into the oxygen that is filling your lungs right now. So you see, we all got algae breath. Yay!
Did you know, did you ever thought that when you breathe, you are also interacting with these tiny creatures in the sea, in the oceans, the creatures that we have not ever seen. They are employed to produce oxygen, majority of the oxygen in the world. Now the presenters go on to attribute to this to chance and so on, which doesn't make any sense. But we can take that information and bring it back to reflect on it from the perspective of the Quran, which is, this is another sign that there must be one person, one being, and who is absolutely powerful in control. The one who makes you breathe is the one who is making the algae work in the bottom of the ocean. There is no room for interference or meddling. There is no room for shirk. And we see that before our eyes. We witness that before our eyes. And then the second part of his question was, okay, fine, he's absolutely powerful and he has control over everything to the littlest detail, but am I really significant as one human being? And there he zoomed in on his own capacities, and as Alia said, yes, all the creatures have finally graciously designed and sustained organs for them, but there is something additional, something special here for the human being, for this tiny, apparently insignificant human being, and that is, we've been given a mind, heart, and tongue, and other faculties to relate, to measure, to taste, to experience the beautiful names of God, al-Asma al-Husna. Beautiful names of God was the retreat topic for last year, and we have been talking a lot about beautiful names of God in Receiving Noor Halakas weekly studies. A lot can be said about this, but just for now, we can highlight that beautiful names of God, the merciful, the powerful, the wise, the one who plans, the one who knows, the knower, the just, the one who balances, who creates out of nothing, gives life, gives death, gives dignity, it sustains, heals. All of these beautiful names, Shafi, Rahim, Kareem, Mun'im, Mudabbir, Khaliq, Bari, Musawwir, all of these beautiful names of God are manifested everywhere in the universe, everywhere in the creation. And I am a tiny little being, but I am given the capacity to relate to these beautiful names of God, to recognize these beautiful names of God consciously. So yes, I am tiny, but that doesn't mean I'm insignificant, because I do find these capacities in me. And I have the capacity as a human being to respond to this creator, to his universal sacred sustainership with universal ubudiyya, universal worshipfulness. I can praise, I can connect to his beautiful names and glorify in so many different ways. I have that potential, and that is my significance. Dr. Yamina yesterday mentioned that we tend to imagine that our purpose in life or our worth in life comes from success, particular success, or making a name for ourselves. And that never gives peace, because that is so much lower than what we are made for. What we are made for is being a mirror to eternal beauty, eternal beautiful names of God. I am finite, I am limited, but I have the capacity to mirror and to see and glorify this unending beauty. And so he said, I felt like I want to say Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil forever. That became what he's taking from the verse Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakeel is not what I used to think, I have a problem, God will give me a hand. No, Hasbunallah means God suffices, means being a mirror to God, being a creature of God, being created and sustained by the one who makes everything else so powerfully, so amazingly, is enough for me, suffices for me. Now, when we talk about these, of course, one question that often comes up throughout Dr. Yamin gets this question all the time, is the problems that we have. So we talked about the ear, and then I can say, well, I can't hear that well. I have a problem with my ear, right? We tend to focus on what is missing, what is ailing us, but the idea here is not to say that nobody has any sicknesses or healths or challenges. The idea is to say, here is a cell, you didn't even know it existed, let alone it was this sophisticated and this fine-tuned. Maybe your ear is not hearing well, but you have billions of other things happening in your body, millions of other things happening in your body right now, and they are all manifesting care. So this one, not working at this moment, or maybe I'm not able to sit up today, I have a back pain, or so on. Those are things that are not because things that are out of control. It's not because things are forgotten, I am somehow forgotten. No, they are also part of this journey of science. So with that, I want to invite us for our second text study in breakout groups. So it is a shorter text, even though it's pretty dense. Again, this is already in the manual, and also it has been emailed to you. It's in the same text, it's just the second part. So we will go back to our groups and take a couple minutes to read it, and then another couple minutes to discuss, and then we'll come back, inshallah. And then we'll have, a Q&A as we are ending the session, inshallah. Okay? So let's open the rooms. Everyone should have received an invitation to join a discussion group. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Welcome back. Inshallah, you had a fruitful discussion with your group. Anything that you found important, helpful? Any questions?
I would like
Yeah.
to share.
Please.
What we got from our breakout group, it's this part where it says, look at life in the name of the one who gives you life. We were talking that it is a powerful way to look at life, because sometimes we see our problems as something bad, as something that we don't deserve. And if we look at life in the name of the one who gives us life, we can see that it's actually a blessing, and it's, as I want to see it, is as a sign. Every time I'm stressed or I'm having a problem, I like to see that as a sign, and that from that problem or that bad moment, I'm gonna have something good or an answer to something. And
Assalamu alaikum. So I was just gonna
And weakness existentially. Okay, so inshallah, I will stop here. Just allow me to copy paste my link for your homework, and then we're done, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum, Isra. You did a wonderful job. I enjoyed it. Can you hear me?
Yes, alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. And you're in Turkey?
I am in Istanbul, yes.
Oh, wow. Have a good trip. See, that's amazing. That's what the sister just said, that she can see, we can see wherever we're. I'm in New Jersey and I can see you. So that's amazing. Alhamdulillah, mashallah.
Alhamdulillah.
Have a good night. Have a good day.
It's nice here, but so this is, thank you, Brainia, and this is the thing I wanted us to watch. It's around 4 minutes. You can do Hasbunallah meditation with this. If you
Okay,
want to
inshallah.
search it, it says watch a garden come to life in this absolutely breathtaking time lapse. But I also send it in the chat as a link. The one who opens up these creatures, Al-Fattah, is my creator, and Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil. Thank you. So inshallah, we'll meet again for the second session tonight with Dr. Yamina at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And remember to do your reflection and silent meditation, which are in your manual. Assalamu alaikum.
Also, Isra, if people can fill out the form.
The reflection form, yeah, very few people have been doing the form. In the manual, you will see the reflection on session 3.
It helps us to bring back all their questions at the last session, if they can do it.
When do you want us to do it? Do you want us to do it like immediately now, as soon as we leave session 3, immediately fill the form out?
That's the best way, I think.
Okay, great.
Everything
Thank you.
is fresh.
Yeah, the sooner the better before it dissipates the feelings. In the next couple of hours, it's best, but the sooner the better, inshallah. So there's a Google form.
Jazakallah khair, Isra. Thank you for being patient with me. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you
Jazakallah
for
khair.
sharing. Jazakallah khair.
Thank you, Isra. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam.
Shalom alaikum, Lala. Thank you so much.
Assalamu
Assalamu
alaikum,
alaikum.
and send our love to
Jazakallah
your
khairan.
beautiful family.
Jazakallah khair, everybody, and have a peaceful, happy day. Assalamu alaikum.
Juma Mubarak to everyone. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I am ending the session. Inshallah, hope to see you tonight.
Thank
Wa
you.
alaikum assalam. Jazakumullah khair for everything, you guys.
Jazakallah khair, Isra, and everyone.